Yeah, we're live. Glentendo circuit number 10. I can't believe we've done 10 of these things. It's been... Ow. Dude, it's been 2.5 months, Glentendo circuits. 10 of these things. With the usual formula, got our guys on screen share. Got our usuals. Got Koogie, Dilly Diamond, who's like a staple at this point. And also got Liam. Still making it happen with the net that he's got. It still works, man. But I'm seeing some full lobbies today, so it's a good day.
Ooh, that's always the best. I like my lobbies. I like my lobbies like I like my bellies after a fine night at a Cuban restaurant, and that is thick and full.
Yeah, it's a good thing. What's up, Oz? I see Oz in the chat. So we're making some friends in these circuits. So there's hold on, I don't want to mess up. I believe it's Kart Clash is the name of the org. I'm gonna do it so I don't put my foot in my mouth. It is the Kart Clash series, and we've had like a ton of those guys enter like the Glen circuits. They're like the professional players. They either run ranks and stuff. And Oz in the chat is currently one of them. So I'm looking forward because once I get that Discord squared away, which it basically is, I just have to get it live. I'm gonna be linking their stuff in addition to the Glen circuits. So maybe we just get a whole bunch of Mario Kart players, you know?
Yeah, I would honestly love to see that happen, man. I mean, if there's anything I didn't know, is that such a scene was so prominent and
who
existed in the way that it did, which is like such a wonderful thing that we were able to coincide that with the Glentendo circuits. Unfortunately, I can't see that.
Oh yeah, I got dude. Every time I always forget to share my screen, so I'm gonna do that so that way you could help me talk about the video game today.
Hey man, just turn your volume up like really loud. I'll be able to listen. I'm nasty at Mario Kart. Y'all know this. Y'all should know this.
Oh yeah, I mean I know you've anyone who's invested in the series to some end or even just checking it out, you can catch Dintunist on several of the old tournament casts, probably at least half of them, I would say. So. Check those out. That's on our YouTube. But they all look a lot like what we're looking at right now, and that is a whole lot of Koogie racing on Mute City, and also there's Dilly. Got the camera today, and that's nice. He's got the point, the point total for the circuit, which is nice. That's like a nice little touch I've been seeing people do. Koogie opts to count the amount of times he gets lightning instead, and that's still pretty useful. And I think
that's actually kind of hilarious. I forgot he started doing that.
It's pretty funny. It looks like he's off to a little bit of a rough day. And I also see a few new people in that list of people that I kind of couldn't read. There was just too many. But anyways, we do have Dilly and Liam making it happen. They look like they've been in the same queue. I don't know if their queue is full or not, but we'll find out. And the weekly struggle to get Liam's, upload speed to be consistent, but he's actually really pretty good. It's just yeah, so for anyone who's unaware of how we run these things, it's all what do you call it, screen share, I guess, browser share of people streaming to their Twitch, and then I put them together, and that's what the tournament looks like. So yeah, so sometimes we're at the whim of internet speeds, just like always.
I say we think of Liam's stream as sort of like a permanent frame-by-frame replay of a nice play in Mario Kart. I'm going to choose to be optimistic here. Like right there, we just got a frame-by-frame of DK's dab.
Yeah,
and name another place where you're going to find that.
Yeah, you can. And actually, we got... Everyone's playing some sort of, like, anthropomorphic animal. Does that count Tanuki Mario? Because, like, he's, like, kind of like an animal, but not also. I don't know. He's also just...
Well...
How would you define Tanuki Suit Mario in his Tanuki suit? Like just a costume, or is he like fused as like an animal? Like what's your take as avid Mario fan?
We can go the dark route and say that he skinned one of those things and just started wearing it.
The thing is like he gets that tail when he like eats that like leaf. You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah, he does get a tail when he eats the leaf. You know, if you wanted to fly, just eat a leaf. It's a really sick drug reference that Nintendo has definitely subtly been implanting in the young minds of our generations all these years.
It is stomping on
since 1990. Eat this leaf, you can fly, bro.
Stomping on mushrooms, and yeah, Nintendo. A lot of creative energy behind Nintendo, and I for one, I love it.
Oh, dude, same.
So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Koogie for a moment. The other guys are getting started on their race. But for now, let's stick to Koogie because we could always kind of see what day it's gonna be based off of like Koogie's races early on, because he's literally been, I think, in every stream other than maybe one.
Yeah, he missed one Teamdo circuit because his power actually went out at that time.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That was literally the only time he missed, but he's otherwise been grinding and coming out every week. And I think he's been entering other tournaments too, so that's the goal, especially like when we start doing other stuff with like Kart Clash and all that, start getting... I don't know. I don't think Koogie's entered that stuff yet, but it's possible. I know he's entered some stuff that isn't Glen.
Yeah,
circuit.
besides that one stream, he don't miss.
That's
And
true.
here we
He
go
really
with
don't.
his Donkey Kong, man. And I gotta be honest, if he's really that serious about people not targeting him, I understand, you know, changing his name is one thing, changing his character up to DK and everything, but he's been going DK for like the past couple of weeks at this point.
I think he
and
just
I
likes
feel like if
DK.
he's serious about this whole thing about people being like bragging that, you know, they hit Koogie, because I don't know if like for anybody watching who hasn't heard of this, him and Glenn started sort of smurfing themselves on here a little bit because they feel like people were targeting specifically them with items because they're known to be like among the best players in the server. That was a really close finish, by the way.
Holy crap, man. And he needed that because he's been getting like 4th, 5th, something else in that same area. And by the way, shout out to Cold Brew, who's been playing a lot of this too. But anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that. I mean, and I understand him being serious about that in one regard, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm a little surprised that he hasn't been changing his character ever. Like, he's been going DK for the past 3 weeks, and it's like, yeah, he normally plays Rosa, but like, I feel like if people would just tune into these streams for a bit, and then they see Koogie with the DK, consistently with the DK, eventually they're going to know that's him again, and if this is really a problem to him, they're going to know it's him, and then they're just going to start pelting him, or targeting him more often than anything else. I mean, I'm just a little bit surprised that he hasn't been, like, switching, you know, from all the different heavies if he really wants to keep himself anonymous.
The thing is, I feel like at this point it might even just be a meme. Because, like, last week he entered as Glenn, and, like, if people are targeting Glenn anyways, Koogie won last week when he was, like, playing as Glenn. You know what I mean? So, like, he didn't really have, like, a huge effect. So, I kind of wonder if it's, like, just memed now. Who knows if maybe that's how they felt, but, all right, let's see. Jew, Blaze, I think Tarek I just saw. So starting to see the people in here in now what are less full lobbies. I don't understand Nintendo Online at all. And I've been like legitimately tracking it for like the past several weeks since like all of, you know, Smash hit the fan and there was a North American Open thing. I'm just baffled, but I do sort of think Nintendo might be working on their stuff too. All in the same.
I would say, my friend, don't try to, like, confuse yourself by trying to understand something that they themselves do not understand.
Like, it's just bad, right? Like,
yeah, like, imagine somebody, like, struggling with their sexuality or something as that being, like, a new thing to you as, like, somebody who wouldn't be that same thing. It's like you're trying to understand something that they themselves do not understand about themselves yet.
yeah,
And
I
that's
suppose
Nintendo
so.
with their Wi-Fi.
I guess
They
so.
don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck
Nintendo
they're doing.
Nintendo has so much soul searching to do, but maybe not, dude. So this is the thing: is like they've talked about how they're working on their online services, and then they were talking about like that's what they said. Like there was literally a tweet about that. And the thing is it's hard to know if that means like they are like just adding more virtual console games, or if they're like actually doing stuff. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting, man. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit. I think we were... Where were we talking about this? I think it was either on last week's Teamdo Circuit stream, which I think it probably was, or it was some other... No. It was during DNA. It was during DNA last week that we were talking about this, because, you know, you were mentioning about how they could change their... you think they're working on their Wi-Fi down on the low, or they tweeted something about, like, making it a little better.
I really
and then
do,
on that
yeah.
same night, they added, like, 4 new virtual console games, and we were just like, yo, what if this is it?
And they said, yeah, that's
What if
the
this
thing
is
is,
what they meant?
and they just said they're going to add more, even more virtual console games. From what I saw, they're talking about like over 80 titles or something. Could be.
Please.
And that's
How
honest.
are the Donkey Kong Country games
That's
not
something
on
they
there,
need to do.
please?
That's something they need to do for a long time, anyways. Because even if they had a large collection of those games, like all of a sudden that $20 a month or $20 a year you're paying for Nintendo Online already makes sense. Because at that point you're working on like a streaming service akin to like that of like Netflix or something else. But you know, then there's the glaring things where if you have an increasing number of people using your servers and doing everything else, that they're gonna need some improvement and some, I guess, like bolstering. And that's really why I think they've been doing all these big tournaments, like reviving Mario Kart after all that time of it just being dead with like a North American Open. Like, that's strange. And then like they just did that Tetris 99 thing, and like they're asking more about Mario Kart. Like, I feel like they're just stress testing at this point.
That would be a really interesting theory if they were doing a stress test right there to be able to work on that. I don't know how serious Nintendo takes Evo. I mean, considering for the longest time they never really saw Smash as a fighting game, and they still only really see it as sort of half of a fighting game for the most part. I mean, only in like recent years, what with Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate, did they start to even cater a little bit to the competitive scene, and that's still very minuscule compared to a lot of the other fighting game scenes. So I really don't know how much they care about like Evo, but I don't know if them being snubbed for Evo or anything made them really think they have to start rethinking some things. I mean, I don't know if they think that like at a certain point,
so
people would just stop.
I think it's simpler than that. I honestly do, because I honestly don't think they give a crap. Like, I don't think they give a shit about Evo. I think they could care less. If you want to know my actual,
I agree.
Like my actual opinion. What I do think though is they're seeing the future that they had envisioned, which is just a lot of like local gaming and just sit next to your friend and play and socialize and stuff like that, because that's, initially what all Nintendo multiplayer has been, for better for worse. And I think what they're seeing is that's not really allowed in this like post-pandemic world, so they have to now readjust like everybody else, right? Like, what's the plan now that people can't sit next to each other? It's going to have to be online. So maybe that now has become a little bit more priority in a sense where it's a matter of their other games being successful, But like, again, this is all speculation. I have no idea it could even be simpler than that, and none of this could even be happening regardless. So
are you saying that in theory we would have coronavirus to thank for finally being able to play Smash Online reliably?
I really think it's possible. I don't even know if... So this is the other thing, too. So I don't even think, like, I feel like Smash Online in general is probably not even a motivation for them. They probably don't even want to feed into, like, the competitive aspect of things. That's even just been recent since they've been, like, forced by their fan base to cater to it slightly. I think even just having their online capable of, like, having something like a Mario Kart circuit or Tetris 100 tournament, whatever the case is... I think it's just as simple as them figuring that out, because I still think it's a mess on their end, and I'm sure they're aware that it's a mess now that more people are just using it.
Yeah, man, I remember them showcasing early on in Brawl a Wi-Fi match, a 4-player Wi-Fi match, actually, from, I believe, their headquarters in Kyoto to some other building that they had or was connecting to in Tokyo, way back before Brawl even came out. You remember the Smash Bros. Dojo?
Of course. Gonz made a whole video on that. I don't know if you remember that, yeah.
I was born there, man. I checked that shit every day. But I remember they were posting about Wi-Fi, and they were trying to show off the game on Wi-Fi by showcasing a match between like those two locations really close to one another. And they probably just picked the best video of the bunch or something, because that video did not lag at all. There was like no lag in like a 4-player match on Brawl's Wi-Fi.
Interesting. Yeah, that was unplayable.
Even worse.
Unplayable game for sure at the time.
Literally an unplayable one. I mean, people say that about like Ultimate, but like that one was like quite literally.
It was literally a slideshow, and yeah, it didn't register anything. That was like a whole nother time, dude. I remember that. I just remember the old Wi-Fi logo. You remember it's like that blue logo looking a little bit like kind of. Like almost like painted on. I just remember even like the DS games using that.
Oh yeah, Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. That's what they called it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they called it. Yeah, I remember having an adapter for my computer that was supposed to like give me Wi-Fi or something, dude. I
remember.
Do you remember that shit? Yeah.
I had that.
Yeah,
thing.
same.
Didn't do shit.
It didn't do anything. It didn't even like connect locally. It was so confusing. But like, dude, that was like where it started. And I will tell you, even then, Mario Kart was like the only thing you could play online. It's very strange, and the only adverse effect you'll see with like Nintendo or Mario Kart, like even in here, like having bad connection, is essentially just maybe like the hit detection might be off. Like I think I've seen someone bump into someone else's cart before when they had like a banana peel and not slip, but the banana peel disappear. So like stuff like that could happen, but in a game where there's a ton of shit going on around you already, it's not really not that big of like a deal.
It's so interesting, too, because I don't know how coincidental it is that this is like their game. This is their Wi-Fi game that lags the least. out of pretty much all of like their, main first-party hardline games and everything. Mario Kart lags the least. It has like the most reliable connection. I rarely ever lag in this game. Even when I was playing on whatchamacallit, when I was initially playing in the Glentendo circuits before I started streaming them again and before I started, doing this little show with you, I played them on the TV near my bed, so I wasn't even hardlined or anything. Like I was using literal Wi-Fi, and I never lagged.
Yeah.
Never. And I'm not sure if that has anything to do with them putting a little more energy into this game or this game's netcode.
I don't know.
Because this is their best-selling Switch game
It is.
by far.
Yeah, the only thing that even looks possibly threatening to like come up to it might be like Animal Crossing, and I don't even think that's gonna catch up at this point. Wow, Kugi. Oh my God, that was such a good toss. Kugi's item usage recently has been so on. Actually, hold on before I switch off. Let me see. I think Glenn, or no, that's Sleep. I don't know. Maybe Sleep comes from the Kart Clash series. It's possible. But anyways, yeah, so I don't know if it's like that they put more work into it. The thing that I find that I'm most interested in is that there's 12 people in this too, you know what I mean, versus just a one-to-one connection in something like Smash. So I have no idea what the logistics are, if it's less demanding from like a... I have no idea. I literally have no clue.
idea if this game would just have like maybe like 1 or 2 dedicated servers or something, while the other games just all run peer-to-peer. I mean, I know like most of the other games run peer-to-peer. Smash does, pretty sure Mario Tennis does, but what else? Just that whole debacle of games. This one, though, I'm sorry, it runs so consistently
pretty smooth, yeah.
to do that. I mean, you get the communication errors. But other than that, like, have you ever played Mario Kart Online and you're really like stuttering like really hard? It rarely happens.
I can't think of a single time that's happened.
Neither can I. It's baffling, really. Now that I honestly think about it, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that they just have like that this is their best-selling game by far, by like a comical amount compared to like most of their other Switch titles, which are already insane sellers for the most part. Smash Ultimate, of course, being literally the highest-selling fighting game ever made, and it is not the best-selling game on its console.
That's something, right?
The one you're looking at right now.
Wow,
that is something, man. The Nintendo Switch. God damn.
Yeah, the Switch is kind of a revolutionary system, and it should have that title associated with it more. But like, oh no, Kugi missing that shortcut. I actually hate that shortcut. It's really kind of a pain. Actually, this whole course is a bit of a pain.
Bone Dry Dunes is among my least favorite tracks in the entire game.
I think it's
boring to race on. It's got its shortcuts are really dumb. It's got annoying ass turns. It's not aesthetically pleasing to look at. It's a very boring, generic looking desert level.
It's really not. By the way, this particular lobby is pretty stacked up. I just saw Ozrenium, there's Glenn, Kugi, Kunio's in here as well. Those are all kind of heavy hitters for this. And I forget who Korra is, but I'm pretty sure I see Korra towards the high end of things sometimes.
Yeah. I just saw Glenn throwing it back.
Yeah, of course.
And by throwing it back, I mean the fireballs. not his ass.
I'm glad it's not his ass this time around.
Not this time. And that one as well. You see that little thing up there? That's so hard.
It's inconsistent too. Sometimes I feel like you're like on the track where you're not. Wow, that was really good execution on Kugi's part. Still has a whole nother lap to go. So we'll see what he gets done. But that's Glenn in front, and I think Glenn's still rocking the Waluigi. I don't think that's gonna change for a bit. I think he just kind of heard top tier and decided this is a character I'm gonna use. It's just too good. But Kugi's starting to drop
It's really an
off.
amazing thing when you think about how like snubbed Waluigi has been in terms of like Smash Brothers and whomever. Because when you really think about it, there are very few Mario characters, in my opinion, that I could see them ever justifyingly adding to Smash. But in almost like every Mario sports game, he's
in them, yeah,
in like some capacity every time.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Kind of nuts.
I don't know what the love-hate affair is that Nintendo has with Waluigi, but it seems pretty real. He's kind of an off character, anyways. He's like the sidekick of, like a watered-down Luigi who's already like the sidekick. Like he's a sidekick of the like rival made-up character based off of the main character.
Of the spin-off.
Yeah, the spin-off of the spin-off, basically. There we go. That's the way to say it.
I mean, I'd be a little bit off myself if I didn't have any, like, vertebrae
I feel like he was like manufactured in a lab. like Wario somehow wasn't, but Waluigi was.
Wario was just a freak of nature because like in his whole design ever since like he was not even ever since he was brought to 3D, ever since like Wario Land and like Mario Land 2, like I never understood like what their thought process was behind designing a character who's that fat, yet his arms are that jacked.
Yeah, he's a dude.
He's
got
so weird to look at, you know.
And I'm not even, I guess because he's punching everything. Like he's probably built strength. All right, let's see. Yo,
every day the gym is arm day.
Mario Freak, by the way, back in the tournament with the pink gold. I wish Mario Freak used Mario though. I just want to put that out there, but I respect his decision to use pink gold Peach.
Oh, let's go, Koogie. You got Baby Park. He's definitely
Baby Park. Yeah. So, you know, I love seeing uploaded clips of Baby Park sometimes when people are like, "Yo, I popped off," and it's just like you'll see them like get an entire lap with like one bullet bill. And then again, and then they're like, I saw. I'm not gonna out anyone. It's no one from this. It's no one from our circuit. Don't worry. But I saw it and I was like, bro, you need to relax.
Yo, I popped off. Posted you doing the Luigi 0 to death on a Bowser.
That's literally the equivalent in Mario
Baby
Kart.
Park.
And by the way, I don't know if you're watching Koogie. He's got his own little take on Baby Park, and you can because it's literally a baby mode level.
I'm watching my diaphragm right now to make sure it doesn't burst.
It's literally a baby stage. So, lap 4 of 7.
It's in the name, dude. You're right. It's in the name.
Yeah, it's a little baby stage. A little goo goo gaga.
Oh shit. That was funny.
Right.
Yo, I'm so nice. It's the Luigi 0 to death.
I think that's actually a really good equivalent. I'm gonna be real. So yeah, here's.
I'm not gonna lie. If there's anything I can credit myself for, I mean, I've been a commentator for a long time. I think, not to toot my own horn, I think I've gotten pretty good at it, or at least consistent.
You're always
pretty good at making analogies.
Yeah, analogies.
I know how to do that.
Not everyone can do analogies. Sometimes I get good ones, but I struggle sometimes when it's like a quick thinking one. I'm like a critically thinking analogy maker, not like a quick one. But there we go. Koogie not able to get it done, but, you know, showing us in Baby Park, you could be in 10th place and you could be in 3rd place. No problem, because that's what happened. So this is like the try-hard section of the tournament with, like, Glenn, Ozranium, and Koogie, and Cunio. I don't know what was going on there, but let's see what's going on over here. Yeah, Liam, I think may have won his last race. I think we missed that in all of our banter. So we'll see what he's got.
Liam should definitely hit up he should definitely hit up some of these Wi-Fi tournaments with what he's doing right now.
Agreed.
I'm not gonna lie, this guy put with his Luigi. Oh damn.
Wait, Liam has a Luigi for reals?
What's up?
Wait, hold on. Does Liam actually play like Smash and play?
No, I'm saying he should.
But if he did, I get
I'm saying he should. I get it. I'm looking at this frame rate right now, and if he goes on there with a Luigi, oh man.
Sometimes I'm just really gullible, dude. I had to do my due diligence. It's a shame though. I hate seeing it, man. You see someone who's like pretty good, and then just like limited by their connections. But thankfully in this game, it doesn't do it too much. But yeah, that's a tough finish for our heroes at the moment. As Elmeister, I don't know who Elmeister is. But Panda Boz was here last week, I think. And we'll see if these guys. No, they're not going to end up in the same lobby unless Dilly and Liam also get to spectate this Mount Wario race that we're watching. But that would be nice, because that would mean that the servers are actually doing the work that they should be doing and like putting the people together who are waiting. But who knows? Who knows what these servers are doing?
Who knows, indeed, my friend. For $20 $20 a year, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we will just get $20 a year worth. Oh, and a good swerve by Cora right there to be able to get around that bomb, which I have no idea where that came from. Had to have come from somebody behind him, obviously.
Yeah, I guess
he's in first. And
probably wherever that red shell came from, yeah.
Ooh, nobody's passing him yet. He got hit by a red shell, but no lag. But it looking like we got a Waluigi out here. I don't think that's Glenn.
Yeah, I don't think that's Glenn
Glenn's
either.
in the other one.
Yeah, he's. I think he's probably potentially waiting on this lobby as well if he followed Koogie, but maybe not. Dilly's going to be in this lobby too.
Yo.
Oh my god. Yo, that was big brain.
I was wondering what was going to happen because I knew he had a bomb, but a blue shell was coming any minute.
Damn, that hurts. That's painful if you're Cora. Because I was looking like a whole victory, and then, you know, like, waited out the blue shell, and then whoever was in first did a really heads-up play, just dropping the bomb immediately. And yes,
He literally
yeah, he dropped
dropped
that
the bomb.
dropping it.
Yeah, hate to see it. Or you love to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, one
I
of
mean,
the
what you
other.
hate to see, I struggled mad hard getting up in here. I mean, it was good that you were waiting for the call, because I joined Discord and my mic wasn't working. So I'm like, oh, that's fun. So I went under my desk to unplug it and replug it back in. And then when I got back up, my Wi-Fi wasn't working.
Oh man, one of those
So
days.
then
Huh?
I had to go back underneath my desk, and I noticed I accidentally unplugged the Ethernet. And then I got in, so it worked. I was happy about that. If this mic stopped working, my baby, I have not had this thing for even a year. Oh, I would be very, very upset
You know how
about
many
that.
times how many times I think something isn't working and it turns out I just didn't plug it in? Too many times that I want to admit. Or
It's
just
pretty
somehow
relieving,
got
though.
oh, it's super relieving. And then you always are like, oh, next time I'll definitely think to check this immediately. It took me a lot of those next times to actually do it next time. I've done
that
it.
blows
Yeah.
my mind whenever Kugi does that.
Yeah,
He's
that
the only
was
person I see ever go for that down the center, and he actually does that
yeah, he nailed
consistently.
it. I actually have all the times I watch him. I guess maybe I just like miss that part. I know anytime I play this stage, I usually just avoid it.
Yeah, same.
The real test is the one at the end, which isn't always set up in the position you need it to be. That one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really difficult, but they're both tough. Does it line up every lap? Is it possible to get that shortcut like right now? No, right?
I don't believe so. I think there's
so.
a little, at least a tiny gap there, no matter what. It's not the same as like the one in the middle where you can ride the big hand all the way through, because that one's at like such a weird, like it's tucked in like such a weird corner on a turn rather than in this like big open area that you can just like give yourself the time to like get across, you know what I mean? Or like have the time to line up perfectly. Whereas he's going to pass it again. So like, I'll show you what I mean. Like, see, he's going to turn right here, and it's just because you're on like a turn here rather than like a straightaway. There is no option to really do that. I think if you get enough speed, you can jump off of it and go over the gap, like if you have like a mushroom or something. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure you can't like just go across the what do you call it, the clock hand. Pretty sure you can't go across the clock hand and just, you know, make it to that other area.
What do you think this clock is for? It's like big TikTok clock. What do you think it does?
Is a giant world that derives from Super Mario 64. From that particular video game.
What's its
it is
function?
course number 14. Once you get at least 70 stars to get into the top main room.
I'm impressed so far. So yeah.
Actually, it's 50 stars, not 70.
I'm listening.
Yeah, no, this is just this stage is modeled after course 14 in Mario 64, the one where he goes inside the giant clock.
But that's what I mean. But like, so what do you think that clock is for? What do you think the function of that clock is in the Mario universe? Oh no, Dilly, no! Got past right at the end. That sucks.
Now your
Mr.
Vans
M
need to be
doing it.
nice to be able to clutch stuff like that out.
Yeah, that was a rough break for Dilly, but at least still got the third place. That could have been way worse. Sometimes you see that situation occur, and it's someone just getting buried, like absolutely buried into like last place, or not last place, but like 4 places behind where they were. So it could have been worse. And
could have been indeed, but the role of the clock in the Mario universe, I mean, it's in Peach's castle, and everything in Peach's castle is magical.
Yeah, so I just wonder, is that like the mark of all time in Mario universe? Like it's just like one big clock or something? Like, I don't know.
The mark of all time in the Mario universe?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like it just controls all the Mario time?
Oh, probably not.
You never know.
I don't.
What else would you need a big TikTok clock for, let alone a whole world for it, you know?
I don't know. It's kind of there. It's just because why not? Imagine being able to just. I mean, Nintendo's whole thing. I think their whole analogy when they designed that game was, you know, you ever at a museum and people always like say that old saying, you know, like, oh, this painting is so surreal. It's almost like you could just jump right in. It's like, well, gee. I wonder where they got that idea from.
I mean, Mario just, yeah, he just started doing that. It's crazy.
Exactly. So they made it so you would literally jump right in, and then, I don't know, I guess they just had the idea to do that with a clock. But if you're asking if there's like some sort of celestial thing,
I just want to know what the clock does. I want to know where I could see the time and what the time is for. Is it like the time for all Mario Kingdom? Or
like, is that like, is it like, does that clock represent real time?
Yeah, like, is it just like, yeah, you know what I mean now?
I would say no, because if you go in there, like if you go into that room, like at the top of Peach's castle where it is, the clock moves pretty fast. So I don't think it functions in real time. And the reason it moves that fast is because like if you jump into the tick-tock clock in Mario 64 while both hands are at the top, or like the big hand is pointing towards the 12 at the top, then the clock is frozen when you go in there, so the platforming becomes easier. So I don't think it represents real time, because I don't think a real clock would move that fast. I don't know. That's my.
Maybe in a fantasy world it does, you know? But in either case,
man, you're asking me some super heavy questions. I appreciate them. It's fun.
I just wanted to know.
I want to know too.
So Dilly Diamond has a question for you. He wants to know why people like Cheap Cheap Beach.
Oh, I like this track.
How come?
I don't know. It's very I feel like for me personally, I normally do pretty well on it. So I feel like I just have like some reassurance factor to it. Like Dolphin Shoals I usually go to just because I really like that track. I think I'm pretty good at it. I feel like that's a big reason why I personally like this one, and why I like it a lot. Besides the fact that I like it because I do good on it, is that I think it's relatively consistent. Plus at the end, it's got like, you know, that little dirt area, which I think is a really hyped choke point for, you know, the very end of a race. Like the fact that the finish line is right there, like by this really tight turnaround that you have to funnel all the racers for. I think it makes for like some really classic Mario Kart action, in the sense that like, oh, you could be winning the whole time, but you got to make sure you're really far ahead to make sure you don't get like stuffed out by like a million items right there towards the very end. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That is why I personally enjoy Cheap Cheap Beach. I don't think it's the best course, but I don't think it's the worst either. It's definitely just something that's up there. That's definitely just something that's up there for me personally that I'm a fan of. If you want to talk Mario lore though, Chris,
I do.
One thing I do think that's so fucking hype. There's one thing I do think is that in the Mario universe, that stars are gods.
Well, I think I guess that's alluded to by Rosalina as a character in general.
Exactly. I think it's alluded to like by like, you know, the various games as well, when you have like stars as like wise characters, and they talk about the Star Road and Mario RPG and stuff. I think it's supposed to be like sort of analogous to like the spirits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I appreciate like how very little to no story Mario has, but there's like stuff like that goes on. I feel like they sort of tried a little bit with like Galaxy, but just kind of didn't really, you know. I guess only so much. Honestly, you could do a ton with a Mario story. They just don't.
Oh, dude! I mean, you ever play the RPGs?
Of course.
There's so much.
That's true. There is a lot.
There's so much, and not all of the Mario RPGs are spin-offs. Like the Mario and Luigi games, I'm pretty sure it's not like a different universe or anything. Pretty sure it's the same one. The Paper Mario games, though, that is in actual canon, like in literal actual canon. Like the Paper Mario games are a book that's in like the actual Mario universe.
That makes sense to me because it's literally made out of paper, so you're watching the
Exactly.
story unfold as it were.
Yeah.
And, dude, that's like a whole theme that Nintendo has. Because think about like Yoshi's Crafted World, Woolly World, and then you have like
oh yeah,
what's the yarn Kirby, Epic Yarn. There's so many more.
No, it's Yoshi's Woolly World. You're thinking of Kirby's Epic Yarn. They just, and the only reason I'm laughing at that is not like, oh, Chris made a mistake.
No. There's a yarn Yoshi
anyone
too.
Could have made. It's Nintendo's weird obsession with like.
No, Yoshi has a yarn game though.
Games out of craft.
He definitely does.
Yeah, but you're thinking of
wait,
hold up.
Yes, Crafted World, and then he has another one.
World.
Yeah, that's the one, because I remember playing it a lot, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah, no, that game was good.
Woolly World was
really
good.
Fun co-op mode, too.
Yeah, I used to like unlocking all the woolly Yoshis. It was nice.
Yeah, Yoshis are adorable. It's like, so many people hate Yoshi now just because of Smash, but like, he himself, he's a good lad.
Got another question for you.
Please.
Hying Ninja wants to know. He just wants to know why Mario Kart has the best original tracks, or which Mario Kart has the best original tracks, and why is it 8?
I gotta ask though, do you mean tracks as in literally the courses?
I think
or the
he means.
music?
I think he means the courses.
I assume you mean the courses, right?
Gotta be the courses. I would imagine.
Well, I think this game has some of the best original tracks because they put a lot of effort into this one to try to make the Wii U sell a little bit more back in 2014. Plus, it had already just been a while since another Mario Kart at that point, I suppose. And I guess in this game, you know, they just had everything. I imagine that the tracks are really good because it's just the latest Mario Kart game, and they probably had everything just figured out. You know, like they had the new section courses where, you know, it wasn't a lap around every time. Rather, there were 3 different sections you had to go through that counted as your laps. You know, it has a lot of classic courses as well. Literally half the tracks in this game are from, actually, I think more than, no, I think it's half. Never mind, about half, I think. Half the tracks in this game are, you know, hit tracks from a lot of the other Mario Karts. So you have, like, you know, a lot of good nostalgia factors in it. I think the tracks are also well designed because, in my personal opinion, I think Mario Kart 8, besides like the items, you know, the item distribution is kind of whack. We've talked about that a million times here.
Oh, yeah.
I think literally the game itself is very well designed. I'm a firm believer in that Mario Kart is a really good example of a series as Liam takes that first place race.
Yeah,
Good stuff, my friend. Good stuff on Yoshi Valley. I'm a firm believer that Mario Kart is one of just those franchises that literally just got better with every single game. I think each game just improved on the last one exponentially, which is why I personally scoff when people still say Double Dash is the best one. I could not disagree with that anymore. I think that game controls like shit.
I think there's a different reasoning as to why people like Double Dash, and I can attest for that.
Babies.
Well, not just I think that's also a reason for sure.
Shadows to Gons.
I think that is also a reason, but I sort of think it just sort of had some unique stuff going on, aside from just being able to race with another. Oh god, that was scary. I thought Coogie's gonna get tripped up, but I think aside from
didn't get close enough. That
just
was weird.
Being able to play co-op in one cart is something.
That was hype.
That is really cool, and then the fact that people had their own special weapons, which is something. That was in Mario Kart 7, I think, too, or am I?
I don't think so.
Was it just Double Dash? It was like that.
Those were Double Dash exclusive.
Yeah, so there's that. I used to love that in particular, and honestly, I think it's as simple as that. Ooh, yeah, that hurts. We got the not quite an FGC nod, but something akin.
I was gonna ask if you saw it.
Oh yeah. So
that was real.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's reasons though, and I also think the character selection in that game was pretty good. And I think it's like reasons as simple as that people like really gravitate towards it. But then there's also a lot of people like really don't like it too. Like that's also a thing. You know, like a lot of people think Double Dash is bad, just straight out.
I think it's a wonderful game, but I mean, I really don't think very many, if any, of the Mario Kart games are bad, or at the very least haven't aged well. I didn't even know you could do a trick off the top of the trolleys there. That was crazy by Koogie. I literally didn't even know that was a thing.
You learn something new watching Koogie every day. And by the way, I don't know.
I wish I could watch Koogie do anything. I probably learned something new.
I don't know who Sleep is, but they're currently in first place by kind of a lot of points, followed by Tarek. That's just a quick update. I was just kind of amazed as I didn't know who that was. And also in the mix is Mega J Keezy from that Kart Clash series I was telling you about a little earlier. I don't know who PM Florin is. Could possibly. I'm going to assume a lot of the names I don't recognize who are doing well are probably from Kart Clash, because I think that's like the Mario Kart plug for the most part.
Got these crews in here, man. That's so hype.
Dude, it's really good. Meanwhile, yeah, we're seeing a lot of the other people here. So, good day today. 27 entrants.
Nice.
Yeah, you love to see it. Also,
to answer your question in the chat, though, my friend, I think the tracks are well designed. Not only because I think the tracks themselves are well designed, I also just think, you know, Mario Kart 8, like I said, with the exception of the items, I think it is the best Mario Kart game mechanically. I think it controls the best out of all the games. I like how there has all the different functionalities with the gliding and the swimming and just what else? The differences between the karts and the bikes, which is not even that big. I feel like it's more so a preference thing nowadays. I feel like different karts and bikes and everything have like so many different ways to like accustomate to different play styles and whatnot. It has such a huge cast of characters as well, but like to honestly answer why I think the game like has some of the best tracks, it's because I think you just have much more control and better maneuverability compared to the other Mario Kart games to take advantage of the tracks. I think 7 had great tracks, and I think 7 controlled almost as well as this game, if not just as much, but was just held back by the fact that it was on the 3DS. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion personally. Some people would say that Wii controls better just because that game, I want to say that game is virtually the Melee of the Mario Kart games, just because that game has a lot of movement exploits. And I say movement exploits because like they're clearly like were not designed to be able to be used like in the actual game. Like the movement in Mario Kart Wii is kind of it's impractical in a sense, and when it comes to races for the most part, I believe. But like in time trials, some of the world record runners of that game are kind of ridiculous. But that's my very long answer as to why I think Mario Kart 8 has the best tracks.
I dig it. Also, there
Except
was
for Neo Bowser City. I hate this shit.
Wait, what
I
happened?
hate this track. Except for
yeah,
Neo
yeah,
Bowser
yeah,
City.
yeah,
I hate
yeah.
this track.
Yeah, this track's kind of like.
It's a good track. I just hate it.
Wait, why do you hate it?
Cause I mean, like, it's a good track to test drivers because of how tight the turns are. This is one of the few tracks in the game, Chris, that actually does force the player to utilize brake drifting, which is a tech that is exactly as it sounds. It's when you brake and you drift at the same time, so you can get a very tight turn. But if you brake for too long, you'll stop your kart.
Yep.
But then if you brake for not long enough, you'll do what Cora just did, and you'll slide off the way right there. But if you do it just right, you'll be able to get around these turnarounds. But that doesn't matter when the funnels are so small and you're cramming 12 players into that shit, and there are a million green shells at once coming at you. It doesn't matter. That's why I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
It's like it never even mattered, you know?
Yeah. I tried so hard, I got there.
What if that was the actual music on the stage?
I would be too hype. you imagine you just like you're oh whatever, it's Glentendo Circuit Week, yay, I can't wait to play in Glentendo Circuit, it's so much fun, and like the first track is Neo Bowser City, and then just for no reason at all, like from your game, it just starts playing that, and it's you're what the hell, like why is that happening? And
I would
like
be
so
confused,
tilted, but so hype at the same time.
Like thinking of if Mario Kart had like a Grand Theft Auto type mechanic where it had like real music in the game, and you could like change it in the radio. That'd actually be really cool. Not that the Mario Kart music isn't very good, because it is.
That'd be so sick.
But that would actually be super neat. I gotta say.
Like an actual radio.
Yeah, like straight up just like Grand Theft Auto style.
Oh, that'd be so sick. Oh, now you got me fantasizing.
All right, we got settled down for Dilly. Looks like
I'm calm.
Some
This track I hate.
Slight tilt. Yeah, this might be my least favorite personally, and I know this is also pretty low tier in people's tier lists of levels. So, yeah, not alone in that opinion at all, and also not uncommon to get tilted at it because it's pretty frustrating. But that Bullet Bill is actually putting in a ton of work. And passing Jew would be nice, and wow, just like that, passes him. Yep, deep sigh relief from Liam, can't blame him. So there we go, that's a solid second place behind Tarek, who I think is like chilling in second place overall right now, so in good company. Either way, we're sitting about halfway through, a little over than halfway through. This is Kookie's 13th race, 24 races for anyone curious. Is the total, but here we are on Excite Bike, and I know we talked about this one extensively last week, basically saying like there's just not a lot of room to really catch up if you're behind because it's a pretty straightforward course. But I don't know, probably not the lowest tier of the stages, but maybe not the best either.
I would always get hype personally for what do you call it? I always get hype personally for like arenas or tracks in video games that have like crowds.
Agree. I definitely agree with that.
When they cheer, because if you do tricks on this track, like they start cheering, and it's like you gotta admit, that's pretty hype.
It is. I actually like Excite Bike as it's funny that I'm not surprised, but that was like a one and done, just like Nintendo game. You know what I mean? Like for something that has been so iconic to the whole of Nintendo. And even just to show up now, it's just funny to have just totally disappeared. And I guess that's just what happens, because that's probably what's going to be the case with F-Zero too. I can't imagine a world with another one of those games, I guess, which is kind of a travesty, because in today's day and age, with the things you can do with racing games, it would have been cool to see. But
Bernie Sanders, dude. Everybody says they want it, but then when it's time to actually go out and buy the game to let Nintendo know that there's like a desire for these things, they don't really sell.
It's true. I am proud of everyone who, the opposite of that, who advocated for Wonderful 101 finally getting ported. Yet another reason that why we'll never need a Wii U again. And I think I saw someone mentioning that Pikmin 3 is pretty much all but confirmed, but I didn't see the details of why that
Glenn.
is.
It was Glenn who said that, and
Why
he
does-
didn't post any details. He just said why. He heard it from somewhere. I don't know where.
Say because that's like the last holdout. Because Wonderful 101 was in that list of Wii U games that didn't make it to the Switch yet, whereas like there's been so many that have, and pretty smart mushroom usage by Kugi. Getting third, but still pretty smart, avoiding all that mess in the middle. But yeah, so that was the thing, is everyone knew that, you know, most of those games are ported, including like the like really good games. Like Tropical Freeze in my mind is a really good game. And all those games are now on the system, but like that yeah,
3D World. You're forgetting 3D World, my friend.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. But I feel very certain that game will probably end up on the Switch at some point. There's probably no rush for it though, because there's so many Mario games and they're all really good. So there's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's one that, I think it'll be one that hits. But who knows? So yeah, there's that. Pikmin 3 is another big one, and then yeah, Wonderful 101 is coming. So that one's done. That game it's a travesty how much no one has like experienced that game. That is probably one of my favorite games, if not my favorite.
I can't say that I've played it.
It's really good. Really good.
Oh no, so sad.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll see. You know, sometimes, you know, every dog has his day, and you know, sometimes your days just suck too. So we'll see. I know Dilly looks like he's been getting a little frustrated, but that looks like he's going to be a solid blue shell and a 5th place. Could have been worse. Looking a little bit frustrated.
Luigi carried his heart in this game too.
If only, man. Imagine if there was like some sort of equivalent of like that mechanic that wasn't just Baby Park. But here's Kugi and Liam, I guess, duking it out. I think this is a full lobby if I saw correctly.
This is another reason the tracks got hyper in this game as well, you know, because they started utilizing tracks and stuff from other games.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even just in 8 that they started doing that. It was in 7 that they started doing that, because they had like a couple of stages from Wii Sports Resort and stuff like Maka Woohoo or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
As well as those other ones that I forget what the other one was called, but yeah, the fact that this game added Mute City and Big Blue is just
well, yeah,
it's too sick.
Adding Link was a big deal. I remember the first hybrid this game really did in terms of branching out just things was when they added the Mercedes cars.
I forgot.
That was so strange, but they did it, and then after that they decided to just start featuring their own stuff. Like, you know, like you see Link in the game, and then Villager. They each have their own circuits, and then yeah, that was smart. And
this game, I think that added the Inklings.
Yeah, Inklings too. They don't have a stage though. That's like the only thing they're missing, and that's why
they have a battle mode stage.
Do they? I guess I never
when
played
they added battle mode
really.
Because another reason Deluxe was huge is because, you know, Mario Kart Wii, not Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 8. One reason people didn't think like, oh, this can't be the best Mario Kart, because yeah, like whatever, they added all these great new tracks and everything and new characters, whatever, like they do every game, but they got rid of the battle mode. And people were like, why did they get rid of the battle mode? And you're like, whatever. And then they released Deluxe and they put the battle mode back in with all these amazing modes like Shine Theft and Balloon Battle, like all the ones from the old games as well. And like they had no obligation to do that, but they did it, which was awesome.
Oh my God.
You know, like the game would have sold regardless. And the fact that they did that was phenomenal. I mean, we don't play battle mode very often. I don't know if that would be something that anyone would be interested in the future of the Glentendo circuits. If anybody would want to have like a battle mode circuit.
Yeah, make sure you harass Glenn about that, everyone, because I actually think that'd be cool too. That's a mode that just, yeah, you're right, it disappeared, and I think everyone just sort of forgot how godlike it is, except for Nintendo, who I guess always knew. But yeah, you just never really see it. And while this game is one of the best sellers on the system and ever, even that mode sort of gets lost. So yeah, that'd be cool. That'd definitely be fun. Yo, let's go Kart Clash. What's up?
Shine Thief teams. Ooh,
that's what I want. The problem is like Glenn is, he like organizes these, but he's not like organizer, you know? Because like I feel like a Shine Thief thing, you need like a bracket, so you need someone who's gonna be like on that shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which is no problem, except for if you're the one who has to be on it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, I'm not sure if that's true, because then I think in Shine Thief, like in the battle modes, I'm pretty sure you can set like sets. I'm pretty sure you can like go in and be like first to 3 or whatever, like wins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Interesting.
I'll have to look into that myself as well.
But either way,
actually,
so like
but
still
Dilly.
organizing
Oh,
teams
no.
though, yeah, that one hurts. Trying to catch that shortcut, and anytime you get hit by an item when you're like over like empty ground, and that sucks. He was like, damn it. Yo, Mr. M though. Mr. M taking that big first place. That's good, man. I feel like Mr. M is slowly creeping into being good at this game too. But he's
Yeah,
been entering every week.
He's
so
been working for a while.
yeah, so you know, the more you enter, the more you play. It's like anything else, right? Just get better.
That you do. I mean, whenever that man's not, doing his taxes, he's out here grinding.
He is out here. All right. You know, I want to reset the scores because we're way. I want to say way, but we're pretty past the midway point.
Let's take a look.
We definitely will. So while I get those ready, okay. Oh, these guys still got a whole 2 laps left. I was thinking they were about to finish.
Yeah, for some reason I thought they were too. Oh yeah, but it is definitely real, my friend. That is my a lot of my big thoughts on Mario Kart. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you think about like Mario lore in the sense, I'm pretty sure like whenever you listen to the music and stuff like involved, like when you're talking about like the stars or the star spirits or anything, it's always such like peaceful music, like throughout all of the Mario RPGs, which that is where that was, confirmed that like the Paper Mario universe is literally a book in this one, because if you ever played Paper Jam, which is generally considered to be the worst of the Mario and Luigi games, and it is, I personally don't think it's that bad. It's definitely the worst out of all of them, but I still think it's definitely worth playing at least once, in my opinion. I still think it's a really fun game. That's the one where, like, the plot is that, like, I forget, I think the book gets stolen or whatever, and then, like, all, like, the freaking... The paper world collides with the real world, and
oh, I remember that game.
Everything, and then you have to fight both Bowsers because both the Bowsers team up, and
Dude,
then you team up with Paper Mario. It's so sick. It's literally like if you ever play any of the Mario and Luigi RPG games, it's literally just that, except now you have 3 characters to control instead of 2, which is awesome, and I think adds for a lot more dynamics.
Was that the one on the Wii?
Appreciated, in my opinion. No, it was on the 3DS.
Okay, yeah, I do remember this game.
Yeah, I loved it, man. I like out of the Mario and Luigi RPGs, it's definitely the worst, but I still think it's a great game personally. But yeah, that's the one that confirmed that. Like, but there is Mario lore, dude. I mean, like when we were talking about this before, like the thing with Miyamoto is that like a lot of the reason that like Mario games nowadays don't really have as big of plots or anything compared to other video games or even like other games that they used to do or whatever. It's because Miyamoto, just for whatever reason, that's just the direction that he wants to take his franchise. Like he just really wants like the Mario games to be as simple as possible. And while not everybody agrees with that, we can at least understand.
It's his game, bruh.
And then there was the other guy. I forget who the director of Mario Odyssey was. The guy who wore like the Mario hat, like when he was announcing the game. I forget what his name was, but that guy, complete opposite. He loves when the Mario games have a story. He usually tries to implement them as best as he can. And that guy, if you ever like read any of the articles or whatever, he's been fighting Miyamoto like every step of the way on that. He doesn't want Mario games. He doesn't want the story in Mario games to be just complete cookie cutter. Peach gets kidnapped. Mario has to save her every single time. He thinks that's boring. He's the one who wants to implement other stuff. And if you ask me, that guy's the man of the people. Like I'm with him on that,
He wants to expand. Well, the funny part about all of the story stuff and lack thereof is you're seeing Nintendo do all these big open world adventures, including Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. Although Breath of the Wild did have a really good story. As far as like Zelda games go, they always have good stories, but something about Breath of the Wild was a little bit different. I don't know if you ever played that or not, but
I can't say that I did. I'm not the biggest Zelda guy.
Yeah, that's okay. So the only thing to really take note of is the fact that it was really open world, and the fact that there was a pretty good story. One that you didn't really have to interact with necessarily because there's so much like else going on in the game. Like it's all open world. Right. So I'm just thinking like for Mario, I know Odyssey had like no story really. I mean, there was the whole wedding thing and everything else, but like they could totally implement a story into that and make it way different, because that game is just exploration, like that's an exploration game.
It had tidbits. I mean, and I know what Breath of the Wild is. I know like it was a huge open world game. I know Zelda games usually have great stories and stuff. Okay. Mario Odyssey, like it had like something a little different than most of the mainline Mario games in terms of how it goes. But in the Mario games, it's always in like the little hidden details. It's in the NPCs that like blurb little things to you. It's in like these little stuff on the maps. Like one thing I did, and it's part of the reason that Mario Odyssey made me feel like a kid again, besides many other reasons. If you like go to the map, which is how you like teleport around and stuff, in in any given course, is that like if you hit a checkpoint, you can see it on your map and then you can teleport to it later.
Right.
On those maps are like, the whole theme of the game is like traveling around the world, right? So the maps are like little tourist maps. You ever get those tourist brochures when you're on vacation that says what you can do when you're at a place, like, oh, you can go hang gliding here, taking that, check out our beautiful lakes or whatever, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
They did that in Mario Odyssey, and they like wrote all these little blurbs in like the map menu that you didn't have to read, but you could have if you wanted to. And those things really add so much more immersion into the universe of those games than I think people ever gave them credit for. Like, you go to the Ruined Kingdom, right? And I will say this does kind of have spoilers for Mario Odyssey, so whatever, like, cover your ears for the next like 50 seconds. I guess, unless you haven't played it either.
No, I've almost 100% of that game for the most part.
When you go to the Ruined Kingdom, yeah, same. When you go to the Ruined Kingdom, and like before you fight the dragon, like there are all these like, you open it up like before you fight the dragon, and it'll talk about like, oh, these ancient markings that used to be here. Like, we don't know if like we don't know if these markings were put here by some sort of like giant creature or something beforehand, but like people suspect that like these markings have been here for thousands of years. Time will only tell, like, what unleashed these giant beast markings or whatever. And that's when you fight the dragon right beforehand. And the whole time you're wishing, no, don't tell me I have to fight that thing, please. No, please, no. That thing was terrifying. And then you go a little bit forward and like the dragon spawns and like that horrifying music plays. And yeah, I don't know. And they did that for the Mushroom Kingdom as well. Like when you get to the Mushroom Kingdom, like there's like the whole tourist brochure for like the Mushroom Kingdom that like it doesn't have to be in the game. They didn't have to put that there. They could have just done like this basic thing that like let you warp anywhere you wanted in like the game, and it wouldn't have mattered, right? They could have just like put that in there, and be like, oh, here's the warp system, here you go. But no, even the warp system, they tried to make it whimsical. Yeah. In some sort of sense, which was just a beautiful thing. So what they make up for, in my opinion, what they make up for in terms of like big, lengthy, scripted out stories, they more than make up for in immersion in the little details, which is what I think they're trying to go for with a lot of with a lot of their modern titles. Yeah, unless you're Miyamoto, who's just trying to make it as cookie cutter simple as possible. But whatever, that's him. So
yeah, all the open world exploration, adding some little things to find and things to sort of put your head into. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's all immersion, so that is very much their feature. And I wonder about their online stuff there, too, because when you start creating open worlds, then you start thinking about the possibility of, like, having, like, not necessarily competitive type online gameplay. You know what I mean? Like your MMORPGs, which, imagine, like, a Nintendo one of those. Would be so cool, man. But they got to get the internet in order for that. But
an MMO Nintendo game, whew.
Yeah, that would be hype. I always think about that. It's like, maybe like they're adding all this open world exploration and all this stuff. Like we're just kind of finding and searching for stuff. Who's to say? Probably not.
The first thing that comes to my mind is a Zelda spinoff that would do that.
Well, yeah, dude.
I don't know why, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I think so, too, because Zelda has tried doing multiplayer stuff. Like, they've had 4 swords, that's the thing that they've tried doing a few times, and they've tried doing it a few different ways, like linking your Game Boy Advances, or having the Game Boy Advances be like, or I'm sorry, linking your DSs or 3DSs, or having your Game Boy Advances be the screen on the GameCube. Like, they've tried a few different ways, so I don't think it's unreasonable to think that idea could find itself in something like an open world Zelda game, which would, dude, people would lose their shit. That'd really be cool.
That they would. Let me hit escape here. And it's just so interesting as well. And, to talk about, it's just so interesting as well talking about Nintendo in terms of their simplicity, because like the reason like people complain about that in terms of Mario is not even necessarily for like more so like their open world games like Odyssey or whatever, like their modern Mario games and whatnot, because Mario at the end of the day for the most part has always been simple, but it hasn't been as simple. Like, you play Sunshine, which is generally considered to be still an amazing game, but kind of a black sheep in terms of like what it was, because it had a pretty weird story compared to the other Mario games.
It was different, to say the least, just overall, like aside from just having a big water cooler on your back, basically. and like a pump. You know, the game itself was really pretty different. There we go. There's Liam finding some success, getting that first place, and definitely needed that. Sitting in that like top 10 range, currently in 10th from the last thing we had, but
Diamond.
yeah, and that's pretty good because I saw Sleep in there. Still not sure who Sleep is, but they're at the top of the ranks, only behind PM Florence, who I don't know who that is either. But their flag says France. I don't know what to believe anymore when I see the flags, but I do know that like there has been a few Frenchmen and women come through this Glentendo bracket, so it's very possible they're actually from France. But
Vive la France.
Yeah, which is super hype. But anyways,
but a big reason people were complaining about like the Mario lore, dude, is not even just because of the open world games. It's because of the RPGs. If you play any of the new Mario RPGs, it's like it's just there's like a lot of them have just been so void of any semblance of like, you know, a good story or writing or anything. I mean, they've gotten better is what people have been talking about, but like way back in the day when Sticker Star first came out, I mean, the reason we were all so devastatingly disappointed by that game is not just because of the fact that the game itself, you know, fundamentally sucked, but because like it's just for an RPG or what it was supposed to be like a semblance of an RPG. I'm pretty sure Nintendo wouldn't even call it an RPG at this point. It's like you play it and it's like everything was just so generic. Like everything was like every character was a generic Toad. Like, you know, any clever writing was just gone, you know, like any like no new characters or anything like that. Even one of the staple things about like the Mario RPGs, which is that Bowser in those games is like the comic relief. And that dates as far back as like Mario RPG. Like you play Mario RPG,
yeah,
that was freaking hilarious in that game, dude.
Yeah, there was a lot of funny stuff in that game. And you're right, that is the first time you really kind of started to see some kind of like comedic sort of additions in Mario at all.
Yeah.
Because I guess it was a little harder to express that stuff in some of the older consoles, but they really did start to kind of figure that out or at least start playing around with it on the Super Nintendo, which is... Yeah, that was... I always sometimes think, like, what's the biggest time frame for Nintendo in terms of, like, most influential? And it's part of me wants to say Super Nintendo, but the other part of me just thinks about, like, the lay of the land for gaming in general is different because when Super Nintendo was out, you also had, like, Sega Genesis, which... There were different consoles, all while kind of being very similar. But they did share games, too, except for the games they shared were still, like, different endpoints based off of like what the system could do. And then like that started to go away. Although N64 was totally unique. There was nothing like that. Even like the PlayStation was just a totally different thing. Xbox, totally different thing. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe the N64 might be like the spot where Nintendo really started to like be extra unique.
I feel like if you asked any common person, and I'm not saying this is what I think, I feel like if you ask somebody who's not as much of a gamer, if they looked at the numbers, they would probably say the Wii would be the most influential. But when you think about how influential the Wii was, what did it inspire besides, you know, like blatantly horrible, like, you know, rip-offs of the Wii and like the Sony thing with that, whatever it was called, motion view or whatever,
move,
and then like Connect
move
on the Xbox and everything, which nobody would ever buy because everybody already had a Wii at the time. So, you know, I feel like in terms of like gaming itself, I would not say that that's the most influential. I would go along more the lines of what you're saying. You know, like the games that really started like awakening generations to the world of gaming. You know what I mean? And I would argue that's really more along what you're saying with the NES.
Well, yeah,
the N64.
Well, the thing about the N64 was like a time of big change because they changed the format of their games. Like that's when Mario start. You know, he had a whole nother like plane of existence in a world being 3D versus being bound to the 2Ds that you saw all those years before. So I don't know. It's like a different sort of dynamic, slightly, because you know you have new ways to play games, but not the traditional. Because the traditional Mario didn't really exist on N64, and then the traditional Mario turned into a new tradition though through that, because then all the games started to be like that.
Good point. That's a really good point. It's like what became the new traditional at this point.
Yeah, and then
Which
they
makes
just
me think about
it,
breaking tradition, you know?
You gotta. It makes you wonder what's next, really. We've seen things come more full circle now, even with like something like Mario Maker. It's the original formula, just a little bit more immersive. In terms
and
of,
what
like,
to say even just Mario Maker? What about what's coming up next? You know,
well, that's
what's
what
new.
I mean,
you
yeah,
talk
like,
about the game in 2 months coming out in the new Paper Mario. And so many people were like immediately already upset because like it's not Thousand Year Door 2, whatever. But like a lot of people don't stop to think for a second and think, yeah, like it's not going to be Thousand Year Door 2, but the game does not have to be, you know, exactly the same as like, you know, the quote unquote all the best Paper Marios to be a good game still. You know what I mean? Like they could fix the battle system and like they could still not be an experience system in that game and the battle systems, and they could still find a way to make it good. Like, they could still find a way to make it worthwhile. Yeah, they haven't in Sticker Star, and then in Color Splash, it was a little bit better, but it still really sucked. And the point is, it's like, in terms of creating, like, new traditions, you know, it's like, they could create a new tradition, with that. Because, like, they've clearly been trying to do that with a franchise like Paper Mario for years, because, like, you play the first 3 games, and, like, the first 3 games have such amazing stories. You ever play Super Paper Mario especially, which I think has the best story of, like, any Mario game.
I like that game a lot.
Dude, that game's amazing.
Yeah, that game is incredible. A little different than the usual Paper Marios, but I think that was good.
I think as a child, I gave a shit that, like, you no longer could move up and down and that you just moved left to right. I didn't care. When I was, like, younger, I didn't care at all.
Exactly.
I was just happy that, like, all the core elements of, like, a Paper Mario game were there. More than anything, I just got to play another wonderful game. And I just think to myself, like, to everybody who says that, like, all these new games are bad just because they deviate from the norm or what used to make Paper Mario good. And while I agree the old ones were better, think of it like this. In the 3D Marios, there are literally only like 3 truly open world 3D Mario games. When you think about it, which is kind of crazy when you actually get down to it. And that's 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey. The Galaxy games are not open world. You go into those games, they're levels. There's a goal you get to. Like, there's a different, like, spawn point you start in every time. And then you go, like, from just planet to planet. And you're going from the one spot to the other. There's that game's not about exploration.
That game
is Mario stopped being about exploration for years.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a. I never really thought about it like that.
Those games bad though? You're gonna tell me Galaxy is bad?
Dude, Galaxy is probably my favorite single-player experience on the Wii.
Exactly, and it's not an open-world 3D Mario, which is with the ones that were always considered the best.
Yeah, it gives
so
you.
So why does Origami King have to be trash just because it's not Thousand Year Door?
We'll see, man. I have hopes for it. I think the Switch hasn't really. I don't think the Switch has really missed that much, and I think it has taken a lot of risks. I think it's taken a lot of risks, even just with like the format change, with like the way Odyssey is and other things. But those games are all pretty successful in their own right, and whatever people think. I mean, I'm not gonna front. I mean, for me at this point, where I've played all these older Mario games, Odyssey is kind of like a baby mode in a sense, but like the being able to explore all the worlds and kind of just seeing everything on like a newer engine was it felt like enough for me, you know, like it felt like enough, and it's something I could have my 5-year-old nephew fumble around and actually find some success with. So I think they know exactly what they're doing, and I think I would even beg to say that, you know, it's all the quote unquote the right things. But Kugi getting it done, another first place. Actually, I say another, but he's been sort of struggling to find the golds, taking it over Furukaska, Ju, and Takamarth, who don't be fooled by the Japanese flag. Outed himself in the Discord. Turns out he's just like the system setting or something.
Truth be told.
Yeah, truth be told.
A weeb.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, I'm just teasing him. We love you, buddy. Yeah, it was. I didn't even notice he started playing Rosa again because I'm so used to him just doing that because that's his actual, you know, main in this game that I didn't even notice he just went back to her.
Yeah, it's just like that. So it looks like we're gonna see what's it, Electrodome or Boo's Mansion. Can't be sure yet. Never mind.
Twisted Mansion.
Twisted Mansion it is.
Yeah. Luigi's Mansion used to be a track in Mario Kart. It was a track in DS.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah. They only brought that back once, and I think it was in Mario Kart 7.
It's just so funny because it wasn't like that far removed from like not being in a game.
Yeah. Definitely true. I don't know, man. I'm planning on making a whole video about Origami King that I'm looking forward to because there's a lot I want to talk about that with my hopes and whatever, and just what I think is going to be great for it and why I think the game can be great or has the potential to be great despite the fact that it's not Thousand Year Door 2. Like, my whole point is that, like, I feel like so many people just want the game to be a carbon copy of, you know, the early good Paper Mario games. And while I wouldn't, you know, have a problem with that, I feel like there'd be a lot of people who would still complain because it's literally the same game at the end of the day. Like, I feel like they still can make a really great Paper Mario game and have it not be what it originally was. Because the reason I don't like Sticker Star isn't because, oh, the game's not Thousand Year Door 2. It's because Sticker Star freaking just sucked.
Yeah,
The
it
game was
wasn't very
trashed
good.
for so many reasons. Like, there was literally no point to battling in that game. All it did was waste your only resource to progress in the game, which made no sense. I mean, it doesn't matter if you slap Mario on that or not. That's a fundamentally flawed game right there because you have a whole battle system that just has no point in existing. I don't care if Mario's on that. You can do that in any game. It's a bad game. It's like, you know what it reminds me of, Chris?
What's that?
You know, in Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts,
Mhm.
you know, the worst, the one of the most cardinal sins of gaming that has ever
Yeah.
happened when they decided to make a Banjo-Kazooie game about Lego cars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people theorize that game, or like I go with John Sean's theory, right? Because he was playing the game or whatever, and there's like this giant open world in the game, right? And he's like, why is this here if like the whole game is about Lego cars now and racing? And what he theorized is that the game was originally, as Kugi just destroys himself with his own bomb there, or at least I think that was his own bomb, is that he's going around this open world or whatever, and he theorized that the game was actually supposed to be just the third normal Banjo-Kazooie game at some point because of how the trailer never showed anything about cars when the game was in development or whatever, and the fact that the game has a giant overworld. But the fact is, they changed the core design of the game. They made it a racing game, right?
Yep.
But they kept the old level design because there's a giant overworld in that game that has absolutely nothing in it. There's no items to collect, no NPCs to talk to. It's literally just a giant overworld that you can walk in. So what they did is that they changed the game, right? But they kept the old level design, which makes absolutely no sense. And that's why I think Sticker Star was bad. It's because they tried to keep elements of what made Paper Mario what it was, but they removed everything about it that made sense. Like, why would you put a battle system in here when the only way you can battle is utilizing your only resources that let you progress through the game in the open world, and that at the end of the day, you also can't even rank up in the battles? It's like, why would you do that? Super Paper Mario knew that they didn't need to do that, so they made it a platformer. It just doesn't make any sense to, like, you know, redesign a game all around and yet keep the old level design on top of that. And that's why Sticker Star was bad. Not because it wasn't Thousand Year Door 2. It's because the game itself just sucked because they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, they probably tried doing something and it doesn't work, and they're like, "Oh, I just got to release it." I wonder sometimes, like, with the time frame of the game just needing to come out, especially when you're at the level Nintendo is, where you're just like on scheduled releases that just affect the game. Sometimes you just start something that's just not good. Also,
Yeah.
I think Kugi was gonna start something and then it reset for more people, which is good because that lobby was looking kind of thin, dude. It was like 4 people. It was extra try hard. But I do see Blaze, one of the Becker brothers. Actually, no, never mind. That's not Bryce. But Blaze. So those guys, dude, those 2 are always at the top of the leaderboards for these tournaments. I'm going to try and get a score update. Okay, yeah, so Kugi, Mr. M, Brooks, Tarek, Blaze. Furu Casca's also been, like, low-key, just getting better each week, and he's been entering every one.
He's been killing it.
He's been doing good, man, and we're getting close to the end here. This is the 21st race for Kugi, so got about 3 more left in us, and then that's going to be it for this week. So I'm going to check out the point totals and see, you know, how much is, I don't want to say at stake, but just kind of see where we're at and what these last races, if they're important or what they are. I know Kugi's sort of fighting to be, I don't even know if he's probably top 10 range. Let me just check, but I know he's struggling a little bit. And a few names that I'm not very familiar with, I don't know if they're new this week or just under different aliases, are doing really well. For example, PM Florence still in first place, not as dominant of a lead at 239. That is another player from France we saw, and Tarek. I don't know if he's actually from Germany. I'm so shook now after I find out Takamarth isn't from Japan, but. Sleep in second. Yeah, there's Bryce at third. Tied with Mega J Keezy, the Kart Clash series, holding it down in third place. Blaze, Bryce's brother, only a point away. So it's actually really competitive for that, like, spot. Actually, the whole top is really competitive. First place 239 with 5th place being 224. So really a 15-point swing on either end. That's really just winning one of these races, and only 3 left.
Yeah.
So this actually is kind of getting a little tense towards the end. And Kugi is actually in the top 8. He's 7th, narrowly. Liam in top 8 to 10, but Cuneo right on the tail along with Cora. And by the way, Cora is Charlie the King, I'm realizing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that is
yeah,
CDK.
He does
I
enter,
forgot.
Yeah, he does enter these sometimes.
Mm.
So yeah, there's actually a lot going on. This is a kind of a close circuit. I'm pretty sure someone might break 300, but it doesn't really look like it's gonna happen. We'll see though. Maybe someone finishes off really good, maybe not. Speaking of finishing off really good, that doesn't look like the finish that Dilly wanted, but he's hanging in there. Meanwhile,
Yeah, got to break 200 probably at least.
Yeah, I would think
so. Over here, yeah. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen afterwards after this race. I mean, there is still Farmville. You got to remember, I don't know if there's gonna be any stragglers left at the very end. You know, I feel like most people do really enter this at 7 now. I really feel like not too many people enter a little late. Some people probably still do. Well, but I remember back when they used to be longer.
Well, because there were 3 hours. There was a 3-hour window. Yeah. Well, because
I used to go to Farmville, man. Open up Facebook real quick.
And the thing is that I think everyone figured out how the format works, and Glenn now is like, yo, show up at 7, which is a good thing that he's doing now. So we're only a couple races off, and you only really have like a 20-minute buffer, really, because if you don't start within 20 minutes, you're probably not going to finish 24 races. 24 races takes a while. A good like hour and a half, hour 45 sometimes, but
it's weird, how even like the official Nintendo of America tournaments max it out at 24 races now. Huh. Where did they get that idea?
Dude, part of me wants to think that they like actually somehow pay attention to some of this stuff, because I'm thinking if I worked for Nintendo and like I'm watching Twitch as an entity and I'm trying to figure out like where I as a big gaming developer fit into this and how people react to my games, like you're probably checking the servers and no one's really, you can't really stream Mario Kart, but if they're looking, they see something. This has been, every week for a while, and I don't know. Part of me wants to believe, but then the other part of me is just like, bro, I wish those guys would just like hit me up. That'd be so cool.
They got spies.
I mean, I could really only hope. But
I mean, hey, you know me, dude. I know the head Northeast rep of Nintendo of America.
Because this is what they want.
I got his number in my phone. Just tell me, I'll hit him up. Be like, yo, he'll definitely answer this question for me if I call him out of the blue and ask him.
I mean,
can you imagine that? I mean,
that'd be cool, man.
You're like, hey, listen, do you guys like have spies?
Or do you like pay attention to stuff that happens?
Nintendo streams on Twitch.
I don't know how common that is. I gotta check out Kart Clash series. I gotta check out their tournament rule set and see what's going on and how they do things. I knew they do things pretty different from here, I think. And they've been at it for a little while, so that might kind of help me learn something. All I know is all the timing of Nintendo giving, although, time's up with like quarantine stuff, which does make sense, but all that time that Nintendo kind of neglected this game, and then Glenn found some new life in some tournaments and got a surge of people playing, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you see the North American circuit with kind of similar rule sets, but again, like everything else we're talking about way earlier, all I could really do is speculate.
Yeah, man, Nintendo, I mean, they never neglected this game in terms of sales.
Oh, no way. Sure. This game is a force for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, lap 3.
I got Miyamoto on speed dial.
If only.
Yeah, that'd be hype. That would be a really high person to have on speed dial. Dilly Diamond with another 5th place here on the Game Boy Advance Mario Circuit here. Don't know how many more races he has. No, I think he was putting the thumbs up. Was that it for him?
No, I think he might have at least 2 more. He's in lobby right now. So, yeah, I think that was his 22nd race. So, yeah, 2 more. Oh, my God. Wow, Cootie got really lucky he didn't fall over there.
There were so many shells. They were lined up triangularly, too. Somebody definitely got hit by a lightning there. Or something. Just somebody who had, 3 green shells spinning all around, dropped them all at once. Kugi definitely not going to wait for another lightning to take these mushrooms away from him, especially towards the end here. Just get that intangibility going with the boo. and 5th place.
Yeah, this is kind of rough
Not happy
for.
about it.
Well, yeah, because this is rough now because he only has a couple more races, and now that is like Sleep pulling ahead, Tarek pulling ahead, 2 people he was really close with, and there was someone else in the last race he was with who placed above him too, that which is narrowly above him. So yeah, that's gonna hurt a little bit for sure. So I think this might be Koogie's last race, unless I'm losing count here, which is also very possible. And I missed where Dilly's at, but in either case, he's also kind of, I think he's more mid-range. He's probably shooting for that top 15 realm.
At this point, yeah, especially since he's already towards the end. He's just now past 200, and I believe he's in like around like the last echelon of his races, which is, not the best place to be, not the worst place to be. He's out here trying his hardest, streaming for us, streaming for the people,
man,
with his Luigi and the Biddy Bug as Koogie enters his 23rd race on Hyrule Circuit, a track that has become a lot more popular in recent weeks. I won't lie to you. It's maybe not in recent weeks, more so recent months with the circuits and whatnot, but I personally used to hate this track. I just thought it was very boring. I didn't like the turns on it or whatever, but like the more I played on it and just the better I've gotten at the game, I've learned to appreciate what it has to offer a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's you mentioned this earlier, but just some of the unique stages, even just aesthetically, it's nice to look at and something a little different. And it's one of those newer stages in the game. Like this was a DLC stage for Mario Kart 8 originally. Obviously, in this game it comes standard because this game had all the DLC. But yeah, I think it's cool. It was because the newer stages I added that wasn't just like one big stage, which is something that became so popular in this game. Which is nice, but also nice to see that they're making like other stages.
Yeah. One thing that I think about when I see all the amazing tracks in this game and the ones we talk about is I think this is only like still a fraction of the amazing tracks that Mario Kart has just had to offer as well. I mean, you play 7. 7 had some amazing tracks. I mean, I remember Rosalina's Ice World. That was a fun track. I love the music on that one. What else? Toad's Factory from Mario Kart Wii.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Mario Kart Wii, I'm not going to lie. I mean, this guy, the person who I don't remember who it was in the chat, who asked me why this game has the best tracks and why is it Mario Kart 8 or whatever. But if we were talking about music for a second, as good as the music is in this game, dude, I'm not gonna lie, Mario Kart Wii, has some bangers, dude. You ever listen to the credits music of that game?
Yeah, it's I wish I didn't have such an estranged relationship with Mario Kart Wii. I got mixed up with wanting to play the game the way I thought it was supposed to be played, which is like with the wheel and motion controls, because that's like how it was advertised. I should just played it with the controller and enjoyed it.
I played it with actually the remote. I actually played it with the wheel for years.
So did I, and it made me hate the game. It made me because I was bad at it. I had no handle on that at all. Wow, Koogie narrowly avoiding that prawn, and he's got a sweat, dude, because he's actually in 7th place right now, just barely. So that first place is going to carry a lot of weight for him, and he's got one more race, so he's got to kind of do that again. Or at the very least, avoid a really bad placing, because 9th place, which is Cuneo, is only a few points behind. I don't know what this first place does, because this is updated as of last race. But this past race, though, that's definitely going to help beating Sleep and For Lukaska. Although I think For Lukaska currently sitting at 19th place. But yeah, so. With that, I will reset the scores one more time, and while I do that, let me find the boy Dilly. There he is.
Yeah, this next race is so important for Koogie. He's got to make sure to either slip by or stay ahead of Tarek and Sleep, especially for sure, as well as Lukaska kind of coming up on the woodwork. But speaking of Luigi, we got Dilly Diamond here sitting pretty at 219 points. Is that Comic Sans at the bottom right? I think.
Sure is.
Oh,
I could appreciate.
And he's not even gonna put a border around it.
You don't need a border.
Not even gonna outline
border.
it.
Yeah, you don't need that. Looks great.
Unfortunately, I can't tell what lap he's on either because his webcam placement is very big brain.
Yeah.
But here we go. He's running here. Is this the last one? No, it's not.
He's just getting started.
Number 2.
Yeah, and Koogie's also right on the final race, so I think this might be Dilly's. I think Dilly might have one more after this, but in either case, this is Koogie's final. And yeah, there's actually some implications here with the top placing, because I gotta imagine a few other people in this lobby. It's also their last race, and I think Sleep is right there behind Koogie. So that's someone to be on the lookout for. He's definitely guaranteed top 8, I would say. based off of point totals, but I don't know. Kugi's probably guaranteed top 8 too, honestly, but whether he get 8th or whether he get like a 4th, I guess is probably to be determined.
Yeah, that's a good point. If he can slip his way into top 8, get himself on that pretty little graphic.
Yeah.
That's one of the placings that'll make all the difference, especially in his relative position. Up on the little higher echelon of it, though, on the right, we have Kugi on his second lap here on Shy Guy Falls, a track that you can take or leave. I don't think it's a bad one by any means. It's very beautifully designed, and how you can climb up the waterfall and whatnot in terms of its zero gravity and whatnot. It's really, really beautiful to watch as Kugi is here sitting pretty on. Ooh, actually going to fall second to Sleep right here. Sleep sinks a little bit ahead of him with the Wiggler, but he's got the red shell in hand. Doesn't look like he has any protection, though, and that was actually smart of Kugi right there to hold on to it, recognizing that he was
what was that
more.
Thing he did? That looked strategic.
I think he did that because the blue shell was coming.
Yo, that was brilliant. Yeah. Oh my god,
dude. He did that once, Chris, earlier on Mute City.
I totally missed that. That's nuts.
Yeah, he does that to make sure the blue
monster,
cell doesn't detonate him because he knows that has less lag. My man Kugi is a Smash player as well, my friends, who used to be more of a Smash player. One thing we don't like is getting caught in lag in any game. Mario Kart is no exception.
So it looks like Dilly's all done, and he got second in his final race behind Mega J Keezy, and it looks like, oh yeah, he's currently sitting in 9th.
Oh no!
Yeah, poor guy.
Well, hey,
he's very close.
Drop below him, and will people be able to drop below him and bump him up? Is that possible?
I'm
no,
not
right?
sure.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I think
he's
down.
stuck there. But either way, still well played. There's just a couple of bad races for him, so right in the wheelhouse of the top 8s. But let's see. This is gonna be big. So I don't know if Sleep has anything for defense.
He does.
He does, and yeah, that green shell not gonna be able to do anything before the end. But that's still good. I think that guarantees Kugi a pretty good placing. Definitely top 8 for sure. Liam, I don't know where Liam is in the standings. I think he may have dropped off just a little bit. But here, let's go ahead and take a look-see at what the results look like now that everybody, well, at least everybody that we're following, which was 3 people, are done. And the tournament only has another 22 minutes anyway, so I got to think that whoever is finishing up probably won't really do much anyways. All right, let me see.
Take a look, reset, find these scores for you.
There's PM Florin. Wow, tie for first place. Look at that. I don't think we've seen that yet. Unless one of these guys is still going, it might be a tie, and this is kind of a low score for first place, which kind of shows you how competitive today was for the most part. With Mega J Keezy holding it down for Kart Clash Series. Again, check those guys out. They're going to be linked in our Discord pretty soon as I get everything announced. But it's all ready for the most part, so keep a lookout for that. Meanwhile, I got the Becker brothers at 4th and 6th, Blaze and Bryce, and then Kugi. Yeah, that's looking like probably a solid 5th place, which now is, I think, 5 weeks or 5 circuits in a row that Kugi's gone top 8. So that's Charlie the King at 6th place. Anyone doesn't know Charlie, he's a Smash player and pretty successful one. There's Tarek. Might be from Germany, might not be. Who knows? Cuneo just missing out at top 8, but does get top 10 along with Dilly with a 239. A really tough fight for that 8, 9, 10 area. And Glenn.
Like a lot of ties right there.
Yeah.
Glentendi's
saying he hasn't been playing that much this week. And then see Cold Brew starting to play more. Just started to play a little bit that I've noticed and has been grinding. So already making quick runs at the ranks. Got Ozranium, Jew, Panda Paz, For Lukaska. Yeah, just want to thank everybody for entering and for being a part of the circuit and kind of trying out this whole thing with us, because it's still, despite being 2.5 months old, it's still pretty new as far as like the stream stuff and everything else goes. So we do appreciate you guys who are hanging in and enjoying seeing every one of your friends playing. And if you like this and want to see more of this or want to enter, we do this every single Tuesday too with team races, and that's something that hopefully we evaluate the format with a little bit. But in the current way, it works pretty much exactly like today does, or did rather, where it's just open races for the most part. It's just you're either on blue or red team and it totals the points. So that's every Tuesday. So that's keep it here. And if you're looking for more info, just join our Discord. And meanwhile, if you're looking for something different, I know a lot of the player base for Mario Kart does also bleed into Smash, so we do have Smash every single Thursday. So this Thursday, no different, of course. And there's another event. I don't really feel, yeah, you know what? Maybe I get on screen share. I'll do that. That seems to be the easiest way to go about it because I don't have it loaded in the OBS. So as I just say a few more words and get you guys listening to all the things I'm saying. Wow, look at that. I found it. Platinum Star Online. This is actually has a pop bonus. This is our normal Smash Monthly that we used to run physically, but since we can't do that, we're doing it online, and it is open to everybody, much like everything we're doing now. There's some prizes. Could grow if it sees a demand, but I'm not anticipating that. I think it'll just be a good, fun, comfy day. And there's an items bracket, which is probably the most exciting part. That's actually the most fun I've had streaming was the last time we did one of these and did items. It was actually a really, really fun time. So think about it.
Really fun to commentate as well. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about it if you're looking for something a little different to do. But meanwhile, that was it from us. And Intunist, you got any last words?
That was it. Those are my words.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you joining me today. But for now, that is going to do it. And yeah, we'll see you on Tuesday for team races.
Goodbye, friends. Thank you so much.